Welcome, Erica and Mandy, to the World of Curiosities.
Hi, how are you?
Thank you for having us.
You guys have something really special for our audience, and that is, since you are paranormal investigators, you've been connected to the paranormal since you were children. You have some scary stories, some ghost stories that you might want to share with us. So what are those? Mandy, we'll start with you.
Okay, so I will start with probably my best experience is at St. Albans. I was there on my birthday weekend, and we were walking through with a group of people, and we get to the grand staircase, and where you go around to the right, then you have a long hallway with an archway. And I was standing in that archway, and I could see what looked like a figure like coming from the red exit sign and the light. So it was like a red figure, and came up about halfway down the hallway. And then this was on my birthday, stood there and did a ballroom dance. The arm was over the head, and she was twirling, and I say she because you could see the hair flowing, and you could see the gown or the dress flowing as well, and just did a ballroom dance for me. And yeah, it was like the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And I don't care how corny that sounds, it was beautiful.
Well, let me ask, were you by yourself when you had this experience?
I was not. I was with a group of people.
So were you the only one that was able to see that particular
No, not
event?
at that time. It was me and another gentleman.
Did he see it
Yes.
also? Oh, excellent. So what did this ballerina look like?
All I can say is you couldn't tell it was a female unless you see the hair. You just see the hair flowing around. And then you see the dress and it could have even been a hospital gown flowing around. That's the best way I can describe that. It was phenomenal.
That sounds like a really interesting experience. And Erica, what
I'm
about
going to
you?
go right off of that one because she told me about that experience, and it was about a month later. I was there for the first time at St. Albans, and we were there doing a group investigation, and there was about 5 of us in the group, and me and Mandy were the only ones who knew the story. So we went to that same location, and we asked the other group of people with us do you see anything? And without them knowing anything, they saw the exact same lady come from that exit sign and come down the hallway and do her spin with their arm above her head.
Full validation.
I love that. So you kind of had the same experience on different nights?
Yes, that was about a month apart. And then a year later, we went back to St. Albans. And at this point is when we had put together our team, our great team. And we still did not tell that story because we wanted to test it again. So that night, Mandy had actually left. I want to say it was like 2:00 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Mandy had already left for the night, went back to the hotel. And I took our group, fresh new group. We had just got together and again, went to the same location. I had them stand there, and I went over and sat on the grand staircase, and I did the same thing was, do you see anything? And again, everybody in our group, and it was a group of about 6.
Yeah.
Everyone saw her. Same thing.
Full validation.
Do you remember any details about her?
Nope, just the hair flow and the dress and the gown.
And the spinning.
The spinning, that was, and the arm over the head.
Each time that we experienced her, she would come closer. We didn't feel that there was any ill intent or any negative energy coming from her, but you can never be too careful. So Mandy did step in and, asked her to step back, and she went right back to that exit sign and disappeared.
Respectfully, but sternly, because you had a group of people, and you don't know, you never know. You can never know. Even if something looks beautiful, or even if it's a little child, you can never know if it could be a dark energy. So you always have to be careful which we're going to touch on that a little later too.
I will agree to some extent. I will tell you that, some people do have the ability to be able to tell right away if something is malevolent or not. Not everybody does, and not when all of a sudden you walk around the corner and you see this
Like a gaspy type
apparition.
feeling. Like it was just wow.
I got a peaceful feeling.
Yeah, for me it was like, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
like I was so excited. It was like a happy feeling. Like I went down and told Marcel, the one of the owners at St. Albans, I went down and told her, and I was just all giddy and excited about it because I was like, wow.
Now, tell me where the location was again.
So you have the grand staircase, and then when you go around the grand staircase to the right of it, then you have this long hallway, which I think is called Skylight Hallway, but I'm not sure. And that's where the archway is. That's where we were standing.
And for folks that may wonder why they call it the Skylight Hallway, at one time, they actually had skylights in that area, and patients would be out in that area, maybe at tables, playing cards. So there's a lot of energy in that, I think, in that area. And obviously, you all have been privy to that and have had experiences there. Mandy, I understand that you've had more than one experience. So tell us another story.
I will tell the story of actually my own house. I had a house that I moved out of and then rented for the last 4 years.
So it has a lot of energy within the house. It was an older house that
Mhm.
was allegedly moved from another location.
Mhm.
And it also sits right behind an antique store. So the experiences that happen there seem to vary, potentially from, some spirits coming, passing by from maybe new things that have been brought into the antique store. But we investigated after she had her renters move out, to kind of just do some investigating there and put some positive.
And bring some real good, feel good energy in there. Like I would go in there and sing many, many songs just to bring the happy energy back into the house and just to make it feel clear and pure and all that good stuff. And we then we had like two very, very like unbelievable experiences that happened there. Juanita, one of my team members, and I were upstairs and we were investigating a little bedroom in the back. And she kept feeling an energy behind her right leg. And she also, at that same moment, felt like something was passing in front of her. And it looks like on our video, we have video of it, video proof of it. It looks like on our video that a woman or something, I'm not going to say a woman because you really couldn't tell. It was like a watery figure, like, and that doing this kind of movement. Like you can see it, you can feel it and everything. And then right as that happens, as this figure walks in front of her, you see a gorgeous, like, looks like what are those balls called?
Orb?
Well, it's an orb, but I was thinking of something else to describe it. It was like a beautiful white frosty like ball that came out of her right leg, but it was perfectly round. And usually with an orb, and you usually know the difference between an orb or a piece of dust or a bug. This was like perfectly round and it was just like beautiful and it just came out of her right leg.
Did you see this with your eyes or on camera?
No, right, just on the camera because I was holding the camera up.
And did it glow or did it have any?
I feel like it was glowing. It was like a glowing white, and I have video, and I can post that. I don't mind that at all. I have video proof of it.
Tell me if she is behind my right leg.
All right. And listen, your team member, how did she feel about this? I mean, were her emotions?
I could feel like excitement, like hee, like a kind of a excitement about her. And you'll hear that in the video as well. But yeah, she had a real excitement about her.
What were you picking up other than that? Were you seeing any images or were you picking up on an emotional state, anything like that?
Not really. Not really at the time. I was just feeling the giddiness of it as well. It was really awesome.
I always say, like, paranormal investigators, right? They're like cops. They sit there for hours for one little thing to happen.
Oh yeah,
But
exactly.
then it lets you go from here to here for the rest of the night.
Yeah, and even her, she got to hear her name repeated after we were saying our names, and then we heard Erica, and it's clear, like Erica, like right
Yeah.
after she says her name.
I was doing
have that too.
EVP session upstairs at 340 and introduced myself, and then you hear that little whisper of my name back to me.
And it's like Erica, like it stretches out. It was wow. And then we have the big, and I'm gonna let you do that one because she was at this story, and it go ahead.
we could be here till about 2:00 in the morning.
Oh, without a doubt.
Talking about just 340 alone. There was so much experience, so much laughter, sitting there singing songs, just talking. We just constantly have the equipment running.
Having conversations.
Yeah, most of our stuff we did downstairs. Funny story. One time I remember my husband went to the bathroom, and I was like, "You can't follow him to the bathroom," and they were like, "Sexy," or "Hey, he's sexy," or "Hey, sexy."
And she got a little defensive.
Like, that's my husband. Let's calm down just a little bit. But the energy and the spirits there are very fun. They like to laugh. They like to joke. And like I said, we've gotten a lot of little things and some unknowns. And that's where we question that might have just been somebody passing through something that's, we can't connect to anything.
Yeah. Cause the house does butt right up against an antique store. So,
but this story, one night we had total 3-way validation. We started the investigation downstairs in the kitchen, and we had our equipment going. We had a couple different things. And like I mentioned earlier, the house was allegedly moved from another location.
Allegedly.
So the way the house is set up was not how it originally was. So the stairs to go upstairs is not the original staircase to go upstairs. It was right off the kitchen, which when Mandy lived there, she used as a pantry. So in that location, which would have been the stairs, the bottom of the stairs, we had a REM pod setting. We had a few other pieces of equipment going, including one of our new equipment, which is
Ghost Tube Seer.
Yes, that generates an image. So we were sitting there investigating, and we had the word Kneel spelt Kneel,
which my son spells out in the video. So
yes.
You hear him say it.
At the same time that REM pod that was at the bottom, would have been the bottom of the staircase, starts going off. And then immediately following that, the seer generates a photo of a woman in a white dress kneeling at the bottom of a staircase. So all those things happen back to back.
And as she's kneeling, you can see the bend in her knee, like she's kneeling her leg on top of the REM pod. And the REM pod, as soon as that happened, goes absolutely bonkers.
And for people that don't know what a REM pod is, explain that to them.
So a REM pod is a device that when you get up closer to the antenna or even around the antenna or touch the antenna, getting around the antenna will make it go off. They can feel the energy, basically picks up energy. And if the energy touches the REM pod, all lights, green lights, red lights, yellow lights flash on the device.
It flashes and
it lets you know that they're there.
It flashes and makes a sound.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And tell us, how old is the house?
It says it was built in 1926, but I think that's when the house was moved, because this house just feels a lot older to me.
And which town is the house located?
Yeah, in Strasburg, Virginia. Mm-hmm.
All right. And what about you, Eric? I can tell that you've had experiences with Mandy. And by the way, for those that don't know Mandy, she has an absolutely lovely singing voice. So, and like we used certain things for triggers, right, ladies? On investigations, something like singing, especially if you might know a song from a certain era, can also work beautifully. So, yeah, did you all do that?
We're that's what we're talking about doing is like energizing, because I know we energize the space, bringing that good music and happiness in.
The spirits have actually asked for her to sing.
Yeah.
If we go there for an investigation, she usually gets there first and sings. And there was one night that she didn't get there first to sing. And we set up all the equipment and they were like, sing. So,
and then another time there, I have a voice, or not a voice recording, it came through the Ghost Tube, one of the Ghost Tube apps, which again, we don't always believe that, phone apps work, but we have validation that they do. So the Ghost Tube was saying real loud, 10 of us watching when I was singing.
10 of us.
10 of us watching.
Do you think that there were that many spirits in the house?
Nope. I think they were pastor. I think they came from the antique store. I think they just,
when she started singing,
because when I sing loud.
Right after she was singing, we did that specific day. We asked how many were there after that. And I think it was 2.
Yeah.
So I think they popped on in to say hi while she was singing, watch the concert. Potentially.
What is the name of the house again that you all call it?
I call it the 340 house.
And why do you call it that?
It's just the 340 is the address number. I don't want to give the full address. I just sold the home.
Are you gonna miss the house?
I cried. You have no idea how many times I cried. It meant a lot to me.
And that's why, I think why it's been a little bit hard talking about our stories tonight, because that is very fresh. And when Mandy and I became friends, honestly, before we even knew that we both were into the paranormal, it was before.
Mm-hmm.
I helped her late nights while she was renovating. Came over, stayed up till 3-4 in the morning painting. Now, we probably would have also been investigating if we had told each other that we were secretly into the paranormal at that time.
We didn't know at that time.
Yeah.
Now, which year was that?
2015.
So it's been a decade, almost a decade.
Yeah.
So when did you actually pull your team together?
I think it definitely was 2022. I remember. I don't remember what month, but I definitely know it was 2022.
Do y'all have any stories of locations that you may have examined or investigated?
We can talk about Moundsville. Moundsville, West Virginia Penitentiary. That was our first investigation together.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. So it was my first investigation. I had bought tickets to go there with another team. And it was me and my sister had bought tickets. And because she was the only one who knew, because back then it was like, you didn't want to talk about it. You didn't want to be judged. I was like, I don't want people to think I'm weird. And so my sister wasn't able to go. And so I just took a chance and I called Mandy and I was like, hey, I know this may sound strange, but I kind of am into this and I got this ticket. She's like, I would love to go, but I can't afford it. And I was like, well, I have a free ticket.
Single mom on a budget, I always say.
So that was our first investigation. And I think as far as that night goes, down in the Sugar Shack. So the Sugar Shack is in the basement at the penitentiary, where they would go if it was rec time and it was bad weather, raining, something, and they couldn't be in the yard. And a lot of negative things, bad things happened down in the Sugar Shack because they weren't very monitored down there. So that place is a very negative place. And I think as far as actual scary stories that we have, that's probably one of our scariest together.
Mm-hmm.
We were in a circle with some other people investigating that night, and somebody had asked, and this is also something you should never ask, can you touch one of us? And that question was asked, and the response we got was with a knife.
Mm-hmm.
So now nothing happened to any of us that night. Again, it was one of our first investigations, and we didn't know the other people that were with us that night. We only knew each other.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something I want to say. If you go to a location, you want to make sure that you surround yourself with people that you know and trust. Because if that had gone very negative and you had been around people that you don't know their intentions, could have ended badly.
And what about you, Mandy? What was your take on the event or the interaction with spirit? And also, how did you receive that message? Was it through an obelisk, of a knife, or with a knife?
I want to say that's when
That was Phasmabox.
Yeah, when Phasmabox first
came out.
I had an experience down at the Sugar Shack, but it wasn't my experience. I was standing next to this huge guy, just this big, manly man. And I'm standing there, and all of a sudden, he squeals like a little girl. It was so funny. And I just love this man to death. I would never out him. But I said, "Oh my gosh." I said, "What happened?" He said, "Pat, something grabbed my leg, my ankle."
Mm.
And it terrified him because it wasn't just a gentle nudge or a push. It was like a really aggressive grabbing of his ankle. And so, yeah, so it's definitely a very active location for sure. And what about, you mentioned, St. Albans and having met the dancer there. Have you met any other denizens of the hallways of St. Albans?
One other thing I experienced, and that St. Albans, as much as I've been there, it's definitely a maze when you visit there. But I'm pretty sure this was upstairs, and I remember like it was green carpet. We were walking through, like doing a tour, and we all heard a growl. We all heard it. That was a little creepy and weird.
Yeah, and you got again, you talked about validation. There's so many people that actually do hear that in St. Albans,
Oh, yeah.
especially down in the bowling alley, a lot, but in
Mhm.
other locations also around the place. What about you, Erica? Were you there when you heard the growl or the growl was heard?
I don't think I was there
Mm-mm.
that night. No.
No.
She's been there quite a few more times than me.
Have you had any other experiences there?
Heaviness, just feeling very that heavy feeling, and that is down in the bowling alley, right outside the boiler room, especially.
Yeah, those are two locations that people often talk about having those kinds of experiences. And so we're going to be wrapping this episode up shortly. Is there anything else or any other stories that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Other than if you ever get the chance to investigate either St. Albans or Moundsville, West Virginia Penitentiary, highly recommend. St. Albans is her happy place, and Moundsville is mine.
Has there been a place that you would love to investigate that you haven't investigated yet?
Sweet Spring Sanitarium.
Alcatraz.
Your goals are big.
They are. I will make it there one day.
Well, yeah, Sweet Springs is just over in West Virginia, isn't it? It shouldn't be that far from you.
It's a 3-hour drive. I think it's a 3-hour drive for us.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that sounds like a weekend trip for sure, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and Cindy Harper is over there. She does a lot of work there for them. Amazing, absolutely amazing human being. And beautiful, it is a beautiful location. It really is. All right, ladies, thank you for being with us tonight. We certainly appreciate it. Thank you to our audience for tuning in tonight. Without you all, it's a very lonely place. And ladies, is there any information that you would like to give people to get in touch with you? Say they have a need for an investigation. They're having troubles in the house that way. How would they get in touch with you?
We have a Facebook page, and we can send you the link if you're able to put it in. You can shoot us a private message on there, and that's what we're here to do. Our name, Healing Energy of Love Paranormal, help, and we are there to help those in need as
Mhm.
well as the spirits involved.
Hmm.
Also, do you all have any upcoming projects, programs, or investigations that you'd like to share?
Now we do have an undisclosed location in wonderful Harper's Ferry that
Mhm.
we go to. And so we will be going to that, I believe, next month. And then we are looking at booking Clifton Theater in
Mhm.
PA again, which is an amazing location. We've only been able to go there once so far, but we plan on going quite often.
And
So
I totally am going to sing there.
they have a great
You have an amazing stage. Oh my gosh, it was breathtaking.
I have to ask, was this featured in the Ghost Hunters? Because I saw a beautiful stage. I thought it was up in Pennsylvania.
They,
I'm not sure. They might have.
they might have, but I'm not sure. That's weird because I know all of their shows. I
When-
trust them the most.
When we went there, I sent you pictures, Pat, when we were.
Oh, I'll have to go back and look again. Yeah, yeah. No, I've never been there. It sounds like an absolutely lovely, lovely place, though. Anytime you have that kind of energy, I don't know. Do you think it might be the artists? You're talking about theater people, and there's so much angst and stress and anxiety. I mean, and then, yeah,
You feel it.
And it stays energized because what's great about it is that it was a theater, but now it's actually a movie theater, and it's still actively
Mhm.
open during the day. So they show actual movies still.
So they keep good
Yeah.
and positive energy coming into the space. They're amazing. The owner is amazing.
and by the way, they had given you all a tip earlier about energy. Unless you're an energy worker that does that all the time, Mandy is exactly right. Mandy and Erica, please be careful out there, kiddos. It can be a very dark place very quickly. Don't take precaution. So tune in next time for Pat O'Keefe's World of Curiosities. Until then, stay curious.